And every day, I practice martial arts.
All right? I don't get tired of talking about Bruce Lee's early childhood, his martial arts training, his evolution, his physical training, his TV, his movies, all the stuff that he did, because there's so many different aspects of Bruce Lee that you can get into. Mm-hmm. So like if I find that I'm getting a little tired about talking about Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do stuff, I'll tend to wander more into his film stuff. When I get tired of his film stuff, I'll get into his body training stuff. Like as a kind of Bruce Lee fanatic, I can choose different topics of Bruce Lee to get into and not kind of fixate on one. Whereas a lot of Bruce Lee fans, they're only Bruce Lee movie fans. Or they're only Bruce Lee is the god of all martial arts who could not be defeated by anyone fans. Or they're people who are just into the Jeet Kune Do stuff or just into the Wing Chun stuff, right? Whereas I have a general fascination with all aspects of Bruce Lee as a person, as a, someone that we, look at culturally, right?
Okay.
But one of the really tiring things that I kept hearing, even from people that I know, was that, do you remember what the big news story was about Bruce Lee before the drug letters came out?
The heat. Couldn't handle the heat.
No. I mean, the thing that was in the press, what they were talking about, not about his death.
Oh.
What were they talking about Bruce Lee before the drug letters came out? I'll tell you.
I don't remember.
It was the Quentin Tarantino movie.
Oh, that's right.
All right. It was the depiction
Yeah.
of Bruce Lee as kind of a blowhard and a shit talker
in Hollywood. Yeah.
Right. And
He
so
was
of
a
course
dick to the
Shannon
stuntmen and all.
Shannon, took aim with that, which I totally agree with. I think, as much of a Quentin Tarantino fan as I am, that there was a hit piece, and what I didn't like is that Quentin doubled down and he tried to pretend that, no, it's based on a true story. Instead of him just saying, look, it's a fictionalized account of Bruce Lee. I sacrificed Bruce Lee's character for the sake of making my character in his movie look bigger. No, he had to double down and somehow pretend that it was a real story and say things like Bruce Lee didn't like American stuntmen. When one, Bruce Lee's famously loved the stuntmen that he worked with. Mm-hmm. I know stuntmen who worked with Bruce Lee and told me how amazing he was to the stuntmen. Two, Bruce was American himself. All right? So like Quentin is just like, dude, shut up. So just admit that you just did it as a hit piece and stop pretending like, oh no, this is based on fact. All right? Just like the flamethrower in his movie, right? Is that based on fact too in that film, right? So that was the big news cycle about Bruce Lee. And then Shannon obviously goes and attacks Quentin. And because of Shannon, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood didn't get released in mainland China, which is obviously a huge market. Yeah. So, and the word is that was like Shannon had put some pressure, talked to some Chinese officials. Wow. And, but it's difficult for American films to show in China because they got to pass all these censorship. It's possible Once Upon a Time in Hollywood wouldn't have gotten past the censorship boards anyway. But the word on the street was Shannon had something to do with that. All right. So, of course, the big conspiracy, because nothing, by the way, did you know that nothing just happens because it happens? Everything that happens in this world is because someone is controlling it and someone is making it happen, right? So this is also the problem, the tiring problem with conspiracy theories, is that everything in the world, from that phone ringing right now while we're recording our podcast, someone must be doing that for a reason, right?
Someone pressed the button.
So then the idea was, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood doesn't get distributed in China. Quentin is in this war with Shannon Lee, whatever, on what? And look, it's a war. It's a couple articles back and forth. People who are not following the Bruce Lee shit are not. They don't give a crap about that story. This was not a CNN story. Okay.
Yeah.
This was a story. This is an internet story. This was MSNBC was not talking. Fox News was not talking about this. Okay. So it really was not that big of a story, right? So then, of course, the conspiracy is that these letters were found shortly after that to embarrass Bruce Lee, and that was a retaliation from Quentin Tarantino. So Quentin Tarantino, in all of his pettiness, is embarrassed by Shannon Lee telling... And what did Shannon Lee say? No, you're lying. All right? Yeah. Did she embarrass Quentin Tarantino? No, she's just taken him to... But no, in the conspiracy theorist's mind, all right, Shannon had dropped this nuke bomb on Quentin's career or whatever. And so he got together with a team in a lab to simulate Bruce Lee's handwriting over 50 letters with dates and age it and blah, 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 blah. And then now he's going to ruin Bruce Lee's reputation, which, first of all, if Quentin was going to ruin Bruce Lee's reputation, wouldn't he find a way to ruin Bruce Lee's reputation in a way that was aligned with his depiction in the movie? Like find some letters from stuntmen who beat up Bruce Lee, or find someone telling a story about Bruce Lee getting beat up. No, we're gonna go and create these 50 letters, most of which are talking about Bruce trying to get cocaine while he's in Hong Kong, and these are all forged for the sake of getting back at Shannon Lee. And the problem is when someone, and Dre, I know people who believe that, and the problem with that is this, okay? The Bruce Lee drug letter story is only big for people who listen to this podcast. And it's only big for some Bruce Lee people. It didn't even hit the major news cycles. The Lee estate never had a statement on it. Obviously, they didn't really want to talk about it. And obviously, Linda Lee is implicated in perjury on this stuff as well. But the statute of limitations is probably up on all that stuff. But clearly, Linda Lee lied on the stand for the insurance and all that kind of stuff, saying that she didn't know about Bruce's habit. And literally, she wrote letters asking for drugs for her husband, way harder than cannabis. All right? So the only people who talked about the Bruce Lee drug letter. So first of all, they were in the auction, so all the collectors were like, "Oh my God, have you seen this?" Right? Tony Valenti is a big Bruce Lee fan and dude out in Vegas who all these cool videos. He sent me this stuff. He's like, "Yo, did you see these letters?" And I looked at it. I was like, "Wow!" So it was like being spread by some like Bruce Lee fans and collectors. Like, "Hey, have you seen this? Like, this is crazy. Have you seen these letters?" And Bloody Elbow, which is a kind of an MMA. Media source. They do articles online, Bloody Elbow, mostly mixed martial arts. They picked up the story about the Bruce Lee's drug letters. And then I did my video. And there were a couple other little videos. Tom Bleecker just did a video, but it doesn't have the same impact as mine. And that was it. So we are meant to believe that as retaliation for not getting his movie shown in China, him and a crack team of handwriting forgers created 50 letters that also happen to line up with his private daytimers about drugs and all this stuff, and in such detail to get back at Shannon, who the Lee estate suffered almost no public setback from the drug letters. They ignored it, and there wasn't enough pressure from any of the people who sponsor the Lee estate. No one gave a shit.
Yeah.
It's one Bloody Elbow article and my stupid video. And that's it. So Quentin Tarantino did all of that for a Bloody Elbow article and my dumbass video?
Yeah.
All right? And, you really showed... Can you imagine how much money it would have taken to hire a crack team of people to forge all those letters?
Yeah.
All right? For
like 25 people
Yeah.
and writing 2 letters each.
Quentin, but the amount of time it would
I'm
take.
just picturing the
no, it's just ridiculous.
actual scene.
But the problem is you have to talk down people from a ledge when they think this kind of stuff. Really? How much money would Quentin Tarantino or whoever's behind Quentin Tarantino have to pay to do this? And the end result is his film still isn't shown in China.
Right.
The Lee estate didn't even get so much as a black eye from this thing. And it's one article and one stupid video on YouTube that hasn't even broken 100,000 views.
Can you see the ad for it? Can you write like Bruce Lee? The ad in online? Yeah, I'm gonna go audition for that Bruce Lee.
But they put that in Craigslist.
Yeah.
Do you have handwriting like Bruce Lee? Do you know anything about cocaine? Well, Quentin Tarantino's got a job for you.
Yes,
all right,
good
job. Can you imagine but people will construct this thing like it's so obvious. Like Shannon was going after Quentin Tarantino, and a few weeks later, Bruce Lee drug letters came out. It's just so obvious. All right.
You know who I blame?
Who?
Hollywood.
Obviously.
Hollywood.
But the problem with conspiracy theorists is this, all right? Had the letters come out before Quentin's movie, all right, they would have found some other scapegoat to pin it on. They would have said, Shannon was suing this guy for copyright stuff, and then those letters came out. So obviously, like they sued, what is that company? It's not Gecko something. I forget the name of it. Echo. All right, they publish a bunch of they made a bunch of Bruce Lee stuff. They used his image without paying the Lee estate, and then the Lee estate sued, right? So Mark Echo or something like that, right? Yeah, and then had the drug letters come out then 5 years ago when that lawsuit would be saying Mark Echo was the one who's hired all these people. Here's the problem with the conspiracy theorists is that it actually doesn't matter when, if they don't like the letters because it doesn't say great things about Bruce Lee. So all they have to do is go, well, who would benefit? And you figure out someone who's in war with Shannon, of which that list is ever growing. And there you go. See, it's so obvious. And you can assert this without any evidence. All right? Quentin Tarantino has all this extra money to have letters forged for the Kung Fu Genius to do a video and Bloody Elbow to do an article. Good job, Quentin. All right? Awesome work there, man. There's a really well thought out conspiracy. So that is what I had fatigue about. All right? The freaking blowback from the drug letters. But besides that, no, I don't really have Bruce Lee fatigue.